Good evening. We're going to go ahead and call the June 10th CRA meeting to order. It is 6:37, and if we could have roll call, please.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Yes.
Here. Thank you. We will begin the meeting with an invocation by Board Member Woodrow Hay and pledge allegiance to the flag. I'll lead us in that, if you'll please rise.
Let us stand. Let us pray. Father, we are grateful for your grace and your mercy. You are the God of all creation. We especially pray for those that were gunned down in Las Vegas, 2 policemen officers and a civilian, and we pray for their families. We also pray for this country where some cannot distinguish between Batman and the Joker, a reality and not reality. Also those in Truthdale, Oregon, where a student was recently killed, gunned down. Our country needs prayer. Bless our state as a whole. Bless this great city of Boynton Beach. Bless this CRA board and its staff. We ask, Lord, that you lay your divine hand of reasoning on each member of this CRA board. May the decision that we make be pleasing in your sight. And we ask it all in your Savior's name. Now let God, people say, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time we'll go to legal on the West versus CRA update and consideration of settlement proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Following our attorney-client executive session on this matter, with the direction of the board, I contacted counsel for West Construction, Bruce Lorne, and I submitted to him proposed language on the first page of the invitation to bid form that the CRA has been utilizing for these types of projects. And pursuant to your direction, what I suggested to him was that in the portion, and I'm sorry, I've been out of town and I didn't get a copy of this to you, but it's just one line that has changed.
It's okay.
The portion of the first page that reads, a bidder is not a responsible bidder if, and then 7 criteria are set forth. I proposed to him that we would change that introductory sentence to, among the factors that will be considered in determining whether a bidder is a responsible bidder for purposes of this project are, and then the same 7 criteria. There was some discussion about some issues that they felt other areas of the invitation to bid maybe could be made better. I informed Mr. Lauren the only issue that was left in the lawsuit was this particular language, and that we're prepared now to agree to put that language in return for dismissal of the lawsuit. I also told him, as I told you, that I had already looked at that first page and thought that this was something we were going to do in any event, so it was not a matter of just the lawsuit, but this will resolve it. He has responded that with that change, they will dismiss their lawsuit, so there won't be a need for creating a settlement agreement or anything like that. They're just, because we haven't filed an answer yet, they will just dismiss the lawsuit. So what I would be looking for from the board today is a vote to agree to settle the lawsuit on that basis. I will tell you that I do have a couple of other areas that I'm going to be making some suggested modifications to the invitation to bid, not in substance, but to clarify a couple of areas where there appear to be some conflicts in one part of the invitation to bid vis-a-vis another part. And this is only a format that we use. For each bid, we will look at what the project is and what it is that we are asking of bidders, and make any other revisions that are appropriate to the circumstance. But for this format, I will be making a couple of revisions to clarify a couple things. But for tonight, this one sentence is the only sentence we're looking to change, and I'm submitting to you this settlement proposal.
Is there a motion to accept the attorney's suggestion on the change of the sentence in the bid document?
Second.
A motion second. Any discussion?
Just a quick question to the lawyer. So as these bidders come in, will the criteria change at each individual bid, or do we have something in concrete that says, listen, to bid on projects here, you got to do X, Y, Z? Or is this a flexible type of document?
The criteria can change if it's appropriate to the project and to what you're looking for from the bidders. The criteria here for large construction projects is good criteria. Not all of it is absolutely necessary, but it does give you a very good picture of the background of the bidders and of what you're going to be looking for from them. The other point is, by changing the language the way we're changing it, what we're saying is these 7 criteria are among the criteria that will be considered. Should other factors arise that lead you to feel that a particular bidder is not a responsible bidder, but it's not one of these 7, you still have the ability to say, well, in light of that information, we don't consider you a responsible bidder. So
my concern is that, depending on what the bid is, that we're consistent every time with the same criteria depending on the project itself. So somebody can't come back to us and say, well, you're changing the rules, or you're changing the criteria. Here's the criteria on this particular project. It'll be the same for that type of project.
Generally, yes, but if you choose to change the criteria, you change it before you send the bid package
That's
out.
always a good idea.
And also, the other thing is the bidders always have, and then sometimes we mandate, that they attend a pre-bid meeting. And that is the place where they should be raising any questions or uncertainties. That's one of the things that West did not do here, that I think if it went to litigation really would have kept him from being able to prevail, because he had the opportunity to question and didn't.
Thank you.
I have a motion second. Oh, go ahead.
Session.
What I'm hearing from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is what you're doing is you're amending, and that's the word. You're amending our previous statement, or
Making a slight amendment to the first page of it,
and
yes.
that's what it is.
Yes.
I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like it's going to change when you amend something that's supposedly written in stone until you have a majority vote to change it again.
Correct.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. This is for council. Although we're voting on this tonight, I'm just saying, when will we get a copy of what we're voting on from you? When will we get a
Yes.
copy?
Yeah, we'll send us a copy. Yeah.
Okay.
I will send you a copy.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. Okay, agenda approval. Anybody have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda as presented? Is there a motion to approve
So
the
moved.
agenda? Is there a motion second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. Informational items and disclosures by board members and CRA staff. Start with Board Member Buchanan.
Pressure's on since I don't have Mark here to do a synopsis. But I have no conflicts and nothing to report.
Thank you. Commissioner McCray, Board Member McCray.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, in regards to Mr. Kerry George in the audience, I do think that we need to have a 15-minute recess so that we can kind of keep the meeting going like we always do. But anyway, I attended the D-Day ceremony, and it was very well done, and I was very appreciative and heartwarming just to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Merker, Board Member Merker. So,
Slightly off the subject of the agenda today, but I think it's pertinent today. Sunday's Father's Day. We use the term Father in our Lord. We use the term Father, Father of our land, meaning our President. And to me, the most sensitive and meaningful father is the father that brought us into this world. And for all those fathers out there, happy Father's Day, and I thank you.
Board Member Casello.
No conflicts or nothing to report.
Board Member Fitzpatrick.
One of the items tonight is for a sale, a possible sale of a buying property from a Brian Fitzpatrick. I know him for a long time. Brian Fitzpatrick does have a brother named Michael, who was a genuine hero because back in the 80s he ran into a house and pulled somebody out of a burning building, but I had to keep telling people it wasn't me. The first knew Brian because I was Harvey Oyer's main contractor for repair of his property, and so somehow I think he told Brian, so I helped repair something, and then I had a guy working for me who was a member of the Seven Sun Motorcycle Club, and then he did some work on the side of the Brian, and that went sour pretty fast. And since then we've talked a few times, and that's our relationship.
Board Member Hay.
First of all, let me say it's good to be back. Unfortunately, it's at the expense of one of our gems in Mark Carrageorge, whom I had the pleasure of nominating and voting for this board. I did attend the D-Day ceremony also, which was quite outstanding. And again, I want to thank this board for your support and working with me again. And even to my non-supporters, I also want to thank them. And even to the extent of comparing my brain to a peanut, I would just like to say, if you do your research, you'll find that Mr. George Washington Carver found over 300 uses out of that peanut. So I think I'm in pretty good company. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was at the D-Day ceremony also, and also at that ceremony, our Public Works Director, Jeff Livergood, was given an award for his work with the veterans on the park, and I think it was well deserved, and I'm glad that he got recognized for that. Okay. There's nothing else. Staff, did you have anything you wanted to comment on?
No, I just want to say I just came back from the Florida Economic Development Conference, which was very interesting. I just flew back this afternoon. Some very interesting things that are happening in the Tampa area where their German companies are now training high school students in the methodology that they use in Germany and apprenticeship. It was really fascinating. We're going to try to see if we can get them to come and talk to our VOTEC school about that system. These students who go into work for companies that train them, they have a retention rate that is unbelievably high. It was really fascinating. It was one of the best things I've ever learned. It was amazing. So.
Very good.
Excellent.
Okay. Then we'll go to announcements and awards. Are there any announcements this evening?
None.
None for CRA? Okay.
We're good.
We'll go
Next month when we get it.
consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, or does anybody wish to pull anything? Need a motion to approve.
So moved
the
to
consent?
approve
Is there a
consent.
second? I have motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. So the motion unanimous. That takes us to, we'll go to the informational only items. I'll go down. If you want to talk about one, stop me. A, the public comment log. It was all in your backup. B is business development advertising campaign. C, CRA development project update, Boynton Harbor Marina Harbor Master Building project. You want to talk about that?
I just have a question.
Go.
I was informed that at the Boynton Harbor Marina, there's going to be a chair reserved for Mr. Mark Carrageorge. Is that true?
Only if it's a rocking chair.
Is that it?
That's it.
Item D, CRA development project update, parking lot project on Northeast 1st Avenue, Northeast 1st Street, and a sidewalk connector located on 28 Northeast 1st Avenue.
I have a comment.
Go.
I'd just like to say to staff, keep going forward. I passed by it. Looks great. Thank you.
Yeah, I see the sidewalk connectors looking real good. E, movies in the park, June 27th, the Lego movie. F, happy hour Thursday, music on the rocks, shaken not stirred. G, Standard & Poor's Rating Services. Got an excellent rating. Good work. Okay. Public comments. Anybody in the public wish to address the board on items not on the agenda may do so at this time. We ask that you come to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and try to make your comment in a 3-minute time period.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Dr. Lois Smith. I'm here actually, not sure whether this is the correct forum, but I live at 122 Northwest 8th Avenue, Boynton Beach. I'm representing my mother. There is a big hole being dug in her yard, and she had not been informed prior to the digging. And she would like to receive from the city a report of some sorts indicating that her sewage line and water lines are not being crossed, cut, or whatever goes on when you're putting up new constructions. She would like to receive a report from the inspector's office or whomever from utilities to indicate that she would not incur any future damages to her sewage and to her water lines.
What was her address?
122 Northwest 8th Avenue.
8th Avenue.
And there's a new construction next door to her.
Okay, we'll check into that for you.
And I have a letter she had.
Do you have a phone number where we can contact you?
561-732-4139.
4139.
Catherine Jackson.
Catherine Jackson?
Yes, sir, with a K.
Ma'am, why are they digging in your mom's yard?
Well, you say the word on the street. There are different ones indicating that you are looking for the sewage line to the property next door.
Okay.
And they're unable to find it, which we tried to direct them to some of the earlier diggings prior to the building of the area up over there in Ocean Breeze. So we tried to pass on the information that we knew. There should be lines going out to the street in front of the properties on 8th Avenue.
We'll have them look into it and let you know what's going on there.
And who do I give the letter to?
Can give it to the clerk there. It'll be fine. Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the board on items not on the agenda?
And utilities.
Seeing none, we will close public comments. Move to old business. Consideration of conceptual design for the North Federal Highway entry signage.
Good evening, board and board members. Mike Simon, Assistant Director with the CRA. The item before you is the consideration of the concept designs for the Federal Highway entry sign at the north location, which is just north of the C-15 canal on southbound Federal Highway, the existing coral wall signage that we're looking to enhance. In your packet, you will see in attachment 1 an image of the sign that you approved as the conceptual design for the city signage at the southern entrance in the median in front of the Walmart on Federal Highway, just north of the light at Gulfstream Boulevard and Federal Highway. And in attachment 2, you will see concept A and concept B. I have added an additional concept to the dais tonight, which is the exact replica, slightly larger. Yes, that would be this image, where we took the sign that you approved for the south side and adapted it to the existing wall and kind of planter bed that was a fountain at some point in history, has since stopped working, and we're kind of recommending not going with the fountain there because of the constant maintenance and upkeep of the pumps and the water, and avoiding essentially some vandalism and suds and what have you. The concept that was supported prior to seeing this concept for you tonight was concept B by city staff. I am adding this third as a recommendation, keeping precisely consistent with the one that you approved at the last meeting. You'll see a slight variation in the width of the wave from concept B to this. So this concept that's on your dais tonight, concept C, is the exact image that you've already approved for the south side.
Personally, I know you guys are recommending, or you did recommend on the background before we got this one tonight, was B. I personally like concept A because I like the additional waves on the wall. You can see we've got the additional waves on the wall on both sides. You don't have that on B. I think that's a lot more attractive. That's just my opinion. So
Okay.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would agree with you. I'd just like to ask the question about the plants that are in the central, right below the word Boynton Beach. Hopefully those are slow growing type.
It's a vinage
It's a
ground
vine
cover.
type.
It's a low. We used it at the Marina Tower.
Good.
It's a jasmine type of a vine growing.
Because
It's
one of
not
the
a
problems
vertical.
that the city of Boynton has right outside here is that those hedges grow up rapidly and they cover
Yes, sir.
the sign. and
Yes, sir.
It's not good.
No, everything here other than the green hedging
fine.
on the side is all very low growth, intended to be almost like a ground cover versus a hedge type material.
I would agree with the chair. I like the extra little waves in there. That would be my choice.
Member Costello?
I like the A myself. I like the way Boynton Beach is all in one line. It's not stacked. And with the wave concept on the side, I think it looks pretty cool.
Great, very good. Board Member McCray? No, I'll come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I like the one that everybody is talking about. And Mike, I'm glad that we got away from that fountain because that used to be one of our goals was to make sure we put solution in there to make it bubble over. You know, a lot of fun.
It happens in
I didn't do
Delray.
it. Don't quote me. I enjoy walking by. So that was one where we had waves without these waves. Okay, thank you.
Marker?
Oh, I think you want to go to
Go on, go to you.
Okay. I'm going to go along with the majority on this. Personally, I like a clean and neat without the waves. The only thing is, question please, forgetting liking or disliking. Cost factor, time factor, design factor with the waves, is it extra?
There'll probably be a slight increase. I mean, the size of the sign in the wall is much larger than the south, obviously a more elaborate space. Once we decide on the concepts, we've now decided the south sign. Tonight we'll decide the north, and then the consultants at Kimley Horn will begin to start analyzing the cost based on your recommendations for design.
One more.
We do have a budget already in place under this fiscal year. If we decide or if it comes out that the materials and the enhancements exceed the budget, you'll have an opportunity during this year's budget hearings or discussion to add. If you want to scale it down and not have to do that, you'll have that opportunity as well.
The other factor is, I don't know if it's necessarily directed towards you, other than the fact that it's going to cost more money. I'd like to see, and again, this will not be on our agenda, that this would be the sign for the other areas in the city that we would put up in time, like on Congress.
As I mentioned,
In
they're
other words,
outside the district, but the city would certainly have...
I'm sorry, Mike. Because
sorry.
of what we have there is a small sign, and now to put this on would be a lot bigger.
Okay, well, we have to take that up later.
Yeah.
That's not on
Yeah,
tonight.
I know.
Yes,
Thank you. I need to go back. In regards to the greenage, I'm just saying, I checked the one at Walmart. I don't know what kind of lawn they have there, but I went by there this morning and it looked like it's dying. I hope we're not using the same thing, but with the wave that we're doing, it goes with our brand promise, catch a wave. So that's it.
Great. Chair?
Board Member
go ahead.
Buchanan.
I like A also with the additional waves. My question is, once that wall is clean, will it actually be that light, and is the sailfish going to get kind of lost with that light behind it?
The sign itself will be lit at night. The stainless steel of the sailfish should stand out to the lighter color wall. That's the intended purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Mike,
Hay.
the size of the lettering for Boynton Beach in comparison to what is already there, is it the same size or a little bit larger?
It's larger. It'll be much more distinct.
So
And
you
there
can
will be
s-
lights that you don't see in these designs that'll be uplighting the sign, and there'll be lights on the wall where the waves are. There'll be lights on that lower planter area. It's just, at this point, we're focusing on the sign design itself, but we'll be bringing 3D enhancements of that along with our costs. But yes, we'll make sure that it's extremely readable.
Looks good.
Okay,
So concept A, is that?
yes.
Concept
Okay.
A.
Do we need a motion to
Motion
approve
to
that?
approve concept A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So the motion unanimous.
Thank you very
Thank you very much. Okay. That takes us to consideration of a standard vendor agreement and entertainment agreement for events. Did I miss one? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. First one, new business. Okay. Consideration of Resolution 14-04, an interlocal agreement with the City of Boynton Beach to provide technical services to the CRA. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a motion second discussion? Do you need to say anything? Okay. Patrick.
I'm concerned that sometimes I've gone in to have a meeting and having been told that the ITS, the internet access, cut out Friday, and there was nobody to fix it for them for 3 days. So, has that been addressed? Has that been brought up in the interlocal agreement?
That situation hasn't happened recently, thank goodness, I'd say in the last couple of months. But there's a help desk line available to us on Fridays, and they fix it as quickly as possible. I don't know if anybody has any clarification.
I was going to add, Commissioner, that the hours of City Hall operation, once that opens on Friday
Yeah,
again,
they're changing.
that should solve a little of that issue. But
Thank
thanks
you.
for bringing that up.
Mr. Costello? Board member?
How did you arrive at the 24,000? Is that, how'd you work that out?
In 2006, when we first went with the city for our IT services, that was the rate at the initial contract. It was an increase of 3% per year, and the city agreed to not increase that amount, so we're staying with the same 3% increase each year for IT services. I think it's well-deserved. They do a tremendous amount of work for us, and to unwind that at this point would be very complex and it'd be more expensive for us. We did look into it a couple years ago, and it's just not worth it for us to go with an outside vendor. City does excellent work for us.
So you work in conjunction with the city,
Yes, actually we
sharing resources?
They pay for them. No, they don't. They don't share. They hire them. Even if you move them in here, they still have to pay to do that. It's you got to
That's
keep
correct.
it separate. You got to keep it separate. Anybody else? All in favor? Was there a motion? Yeah, there was. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. Next one is consideration of standard vendor agreement and entertainment agreement for events. I would just want to comment that I read every word of those agreements, and I'm just amazed that you covered every single thing I could think of to protect the CRA and the city against these people coming in and doing the events. I just remarkable. I don't know if you got help from the attorney, but
Yes.
you sure did an outstanding job.
Yes, the compliment really
I
belongs
feel
to
very
that
good
attorney.
about those agreements.
Yes,
And
they're excellent.
is there a motion? Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yes, sir. In
Yes,
regards
sir.
to 17, it says no smoking. It says vendor will not smoke within the boundaries of the event. Is that the vendor itself?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the person putting it on. They will. Okay, just for clarification, because I don't want to see anybody else firing up nothing. Okay.
Any other
No
discussion?
smoking grills.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. Okay. Consideration of purchase agreement between the CRA and Blanche Gertman for vacant lot 11 on MLK Boulevard in the amount of $130,000. Is there a motion? Motion to approve. Is there a second? Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I was just curious, point of information, are we going to get a presentation, or we just jump into it?
If you want, I'm sure they can, if you want them to discuss
For
it.
the audience, perhaps, or?
CRA want to
Yep.
comment on this?
Yeah,
Fine.
I can discuss this. Sure. Just for point of reference, this is relates to the Heart of Boynton plan update that the CRA board just approved and the commission just approved on first reading. The lot in reference is at the very top of this map in yellow, and it is not directly next to, but it's very close to a large piece of land the CRA already owns on the north side of the east part of MLK and Seacrest. The CRA has been, for several years, been assembling land to encourage commercial development there. And as you know, we've gotten our first development agreement for commercial development on the south side with Family Dollar. So we're still hoping that we will have further commercial development. We still don't have a full-service grocery store. We still don't have other neighborhood services in the neighborhood. There's not a pizza place. There's not a lot of things in the neighborhood right now that need to be there. As more housing gets built, the demand for commercial will come, and it is coming. We get inquiries. I met with somebody last week, a different brand of grocery store last week, looking for a site. These are what we call opportunity buys, but this fits in. One of the 5 projects that was in the Heart of Boynton plan update was commercial, MLK commercial corridor. So this fits in with that, purchasing this lot. It's an opportunity buy. It's all it is. Mrs. Gertman has been in the neighborhood for many, many, many years. She wants to sell, and we're interested in buying per the plan. It's in the plan to buy along MLK. So here it is for your consideration.
Commissioner McRae?
Thank you. In regards to that lot, I'm just saying when it was first brought to the CRA and Mrs. Gertman, was in the process of selling it, was for way more money than what, they're asking for now. My question is, who owned the lot that's in between Mrs. Gertman property and the CRA?
That's the Phoenician group that also, they own the ones on either side of Mrs. Gertman's lot. They also own the convenience store on the west side of Seacrest that is still in operation, that we have been, that was closed down for quite a while and then reopened. They're the same people that own it.
Okay, are we looking to negotiate with them, like to see if they want to sell?
My thought on that is that if we're going to issue an RFP at some point on this, is let the private sector pick those up.
Okay.
Let them go ahead and get those.
Thank you.
Board Member Merker?
Yeah. I have a problem purchasing this property. My rationale, my thinking is the following. There's 2 different owners. One specifically we're going after right now. The other one owns 2 separate pieces of property. And unless I don't understand, there's no potential agreement there to sell those pieces of property. We do not have an agreement from a food store to come in. It's a question mark. The issue is, do we pay more than what the appraised value is? Obviously, we can negotiate. And the biggest question I have is, if we go in and we buy the middle piece of property from Mrs. Gertman, then the owners on either side of her will all of a sudden realize, from the potential of a food store to what she's getting if it's above appraised value, to all of a sudden say to oneself, well, I can get a lot more because my property's at that value. Now, I'm told, well, at this time, it's a good time to buy. The cost of land is not astronomical. But it is a good time to invest money when you don't have anything that's written in blood confirming anything. So if it was like the other 2 pieces of property we're going to talk about, there's one ownership. Here there's 2 ownerships. So to me, I question the business sense to buy something and then hoping that we'll be able to buy the other, and then hoping we'll have a food store. So I have a big question mark there.
Okay.
Chair.
Mr.
Yeah,
Casella.
I have a little problem with this, so we're going to be talking about a couple more pieces of land here, and each one of them is cited for a purpose, one being for the proposed cottage district, the other one for the model city block. And I have no problem with that. But this piece of property here, the property appraisal came in at $21,000, and then we had the appraisal, because it's commercial, came in at $80,000. Now, why are we settling on 130 when the appraisal comes in at 80, and we have no set plan for this yet, other than maybe a potential store down the road? My question is, I have no problem buying this piece of land, but I think we should entertain the thought of going back and negotiating, Ms. Gertman, and making maybe a little better deal for the CRA than paying top dollar 130. I think once we start that trend, either property on either side of this particular property now, where does it, we're setting the standard, we're setting the bar here at 130 when appraisal comes in at 80. I just have a problem paying that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we should buy the ones on either side.
Right.
They are willing sellers, but they are not willing sellers at any rational price.
Okay, but rational price is good, but I don't think 130 for a piece of property that appraises out at 80,000 is rational.
Let me just comment a little bit. If you look at all these properties that are listed here that we've purchased over time, I would go back. I would suggest probably none of them were bought at appraised value. I can tell you that if I sold my house, I would not sell it at the appraised value. You always ask more than what the place is appraised for. If any one of you owned a home, I doubt you sold your home at appraised value. You get more than what the people appraise it at. So, and I think that's how we start putting this stuff together, so that someday we can have a grocery store along Martin Luther King or develop this land. Each one of these parcels were done individually like this, and like I think as Board Member McCray said, way back, Ms. Gertman was asked for a lot more money than that, and I don't think that's unreasonable above the appraised value of what we're offering.
Mr. Chair.
That's just my comment.
Mr. Chair?
There's other people who want to make comments.
Yeah, I'm going to let everybody go ahead. Commissioner, Board Member McCray. McCray, yeah. You had to stand up first. Board Member,
I'm sorry, I'm a little hoarse tonight. One thing we need to keep in mind also about this price, while the appraisal is $80,000, if eminent domain were still available to us, we'd have to pay 50% more than the appraised value anyway. And so this is very close to that. I consider it a good job by the staff to negotiate it to this point, because other property owners have really tried to hold us up in the past, and the fact that this is pretty close, and the other two pieces of property that we're looking at tonight too are also in that 150% range. So therefore, I think that's as good a deal as we're going to be able to get, and as good a deal as we could get if we had eminent domain, which we don't. So that's all. Thank you.
Board Member Hay.
Yes, thank you. This is the type of thinking that we had years ago that has kept the heart of Boynton as to the level and the looks that it is now. I would love, my vision of Boynton would be for someone who's new to the area to ride around Boynton Beach and not be able to distinguish between where the blighted area and any place else. This is an opportunity. If you look at the homes across from the ocean breeze, that's a beautiful, beautiful area. And I feel, as what has been already stated, I won't go beyond that, but I think this is a good buy. It's an opportune buy. It's already been discussed about the appraisal value, and I think the people in that area deserve that quality of life, that when you fix up an area, it has a tendency to stay cleaned up. Just watch the ocean breeze. We need to light that area up. We need to fix it up. We need to not just keep tearing down and let those vacant properties become areas for dumping trash. We need to make these types of moves. Property is not going to be going down. it's going to be going up, okay? And so this is an opportunity for us to do something for that area that we have long overlooked for the same type of thinking that we're doing here now. Nothing wrong with it because I don't know whether you may not be abreast as to the history here, but it's been years since anything like this has been done in that area. And I would think that I would hope that this board, this commission, this CRA would take that under consideration, and let's do something for that area to fix it up, light it up, fix it up, so that we can get rid of the crack houses, so we can get rid of those who are loitering on the corners. I think this is an opportunity, and I support it greatly.
And the board,
Sure.
Fitzpatrick, and I'll come back down this
Well,
way.
what's the point of having appraisals if you don't use them? I mean, we pay for appraisals. Aren't they supposed to be accurate? If they're not, why are we paying good money for appraisals?
Just for clarification, we are required in the state statute to do them. They set a benchmark so that you have an understanding what the property is worth. Mrs. Gertman wanted $180,000. That's where we started at, 180. And when we talk about what's on the property appraiser's website, what the value is, if any of us sold our house for that, we'd have to owe the bank money. So we need to talk about what's real. A lot of these people have been promised a bill of goods by somebody that this board worked with, called In Town, had contracts for a lot more money, not through us, but a group that was working with this board, and they really thought that it was going to happen. They believed it, and I have had to talk them off the wall and say, no, it's not going to happen. That is not how it's going to be. And I know almost every property owner in there, and I've had to tell them that is not going to happen. It's going to be a lot more realistic. This is public dollars. We're not going to pay you for the Taj Mahal. And so I've had to have that very frank conversation with them about it, with these folks. And,
Well, the way I see it, 130 divided by 80 is 1.625. So we're paying 62.5% over appraised value. Now, I understand if eminent domain might go up to 150%, but we're not looking for eminent domain. And the other thing is, if you did this, it's 0.16. So 130,000, if you did it per acre, that works out to $812,000. And I just don't see that paying a rate of $800,000 an acre in a heart where basically where the drug sales are, why we want to pay $800,000 per acre at that rate. So, and now people pointed out, what about the property on either side? Are they going to now expect 62% over appraised value? Well, I think it goes much farther than that. We're kind of a new board. If we set this precedent, then what's Davy Camilleri going to think about this? If we're going to pay $800,000 there, how much is his property worth per acre? I just see a snowballing, and it goes even beyond that. The Police Benevolent Association all watch what we do. It's kind of like reading tea leaves. Is this going to help? Is this going to help with our negotiations with them? I don't think so. And you say realistic. It's still not realistic. My personal preference would be 20% over appraised value, $96,000. And, let it sit then, because we don't really need it right now.
Okay, you're against it. Commissioner McCray, Board Member McCray.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Board Member Fitzpatrick just said pay $800,000 in an infested drug area. First of all, if we pay that money, I'm just saying, and get this property, we can get rid of the drug area. I feel really getting a little offense on that. I'm just saying because, this is the district that I represent. We're trying to get rid of the drugs. I'm just saying, and to use that as a tactic of saying, why pay $800,000 for an acre of land in a drug-infested area? It doesn't sit well. I'm just saying, we're trying to get rid of the drugs. Don't let that be the priority.
Go ahead, Board Member Merker.
I'm not looking at it, I'm just looking at it as a business investment. The question I have first, Vivian, the two pieces of property that we own that you show on the map, is that property big enough if a food store came in? In other words, would a food store need the extension of the other three pieces of property, or is that big enough, do you think?
Would be big enough for about a 10 to 12,000 square foot. It's not quite big enough for. They also want a hard corner. Stores.
I didn't hear that.
They want a hard corner.
A hard corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also want to point out that what's really going to change the value of the property more than us buying this little piece of property here is when Bo's development closes on the property across the street for $390,000. That is not closed yet, and they're not going to close until they get full site plan approval in the next probably August, September. When that hits the property appraisers, that's what's going to set the property value, not our little piece, but Bo's development. That's what's going that, and then if we don't buy this, now we're going to be up against that new value because they haven't closed on that property. They have a contract for $390 for the vacant property right across the street for the Family Dollar, and when they close on that one, that will be the new value.
Board Member Hay.
I agree with what the executive director was saying, but the point I'd like to bring out is that this is why we have a CRA, is to eliminate blight and all that kind of slum and blight. And they've looked at this very closely. Right now, when I talk to some of those people along MLK, some of them are just afraid to come out of their houses because they know that house a couple of doors down is drugs, okay? We need to look at this as an investment in our city, not just District 2, but into the city of Boynton Beach to try to get rid of these things and develop that area as long as we find reasons. And you can always find a reason not to do something, okay? But you really have to bite the bullet sometime if you really committed to eliminating blight and crime in your area. I look at this as an opportunity. I look at this as an investment that we need to do something for the quality of life for those people that are living along that corridor.
Board Member Costello.
I agree with Board Member Hay. But let's not forget, this piece of property here has nothing of value going up on it. We're just land banking it. And like Bo's across the street, where they were able to pay $390,000 for those two parcels because we sold them our CRA parcel for $10. Now, I see the same kind of scenario happening here. We get the middle piece here for $130,000. A potential grocery store comes in and says, well, we can't afford it, but they give each neighbor of that piece of land, some outstanding amount. And we get stuck again. That's what if we had a plan, and I understand the plan of the CRA is slum and blight, and I'm all for that. And I'd pump all the dollars we can into it if we had a plan for that. Like the other two properties that have come up, there's a plan for it, the Cottage and the Model Block District. I have no problem with that. But you're asking the land bank a piece of the land that we're probably going to end up giving to whoever builds on that corner for $10 like we did just across the street. That's my concern.
Okay, is anybody...
I need to make a comment. If I mischaracterize that as a drug-infested area, I apologize. That's my understanding. If I'm wrong, let me know. And I do not see a connect on buying this as an overpriced piece of property, how that removes drugs. I don't see how one leads to the other. I see good policing. I see taking away those business rental units by changing whether they can rent or not. I see that doing away the crime. I don't see how overpaying for property deals with crime, and I see it as setting a bad precedent which will quickly bankrupt the CRA.
Anybody in the public wish to address this issue?
George 248 Manning Boulevard. We all went through CRA 101. You can't do it unless it's in the plan. Well, this is in the plan. I want to remind everybody, this is in the Heart of Boynton plan. Land assembly is never easy. And Vivian knows this firsthand, and so does Mike and the rest of the staff. If you do not take this opportunity by at this time, you are going to be competing against yourselves in the future. And you're going to end up, when you need to purchase this land to make the land assembly work for future development, you are going to end up paying almost double. Vivian's right. Once that hits the tax rolls, you're going to see a very large reassessment of the neighboring properties. Neighboring property includes the property across the street. So I urge you to take advantage of this opportunity by, yes, you don't have a tenant in hand, but in the last year, Vivian has gotten more calls on MLK Corridor than the previous 3 years put together. There is interest. Once we start seeing Family Dollar come out of the ground, you will see serious interest. And she's right. Make the developer coming in acquire those other two properties. That lessens your burden in the long run. I'm going to be blunt. You have intelligent staff. Listen to them. They know what they're doing. When they recommend that you take advantage of an opportunity buy, do it. Thank you.
Anybody else in the public? Seeing none, I'll return to the board. We have a motion on the floor to approve the purchase of the Blanche Gertman vacant lot for $130,000. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No. Nay.
Show the motion.
Excuse me, I didn't vote.
Well, go ahead and vote.
Sorry. We're not doing a single vote on this.
Yes or no?
We're not doing a roll call vote on this.
No.
All right.
It's either yes or no. Well, we already threw a comment. We've already done discussion, so you got to vote yes or no.
Trying to be difficult, honest, I'm not. I'm looking at this through two aspects. One, as far as a business investment, and what I'm hearing from Commissioner Hay and Commissioner McRae, humanitarian. Okay. And Vivian said, I will go yes.
Okay, show the motion passes 5-2. Next item is the consideration of purchase of agreement between CRA and Brian Fitzpatrick for property located at 137 West MLK Boulevard in the amount of $125,000.
So move.
Second. Motion is second. Discussion.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Why are we buying it? You want to put a model or a block of single-family homes as a single-family home already there. Why are we buying it?
This is a very tiny, what they want to do is they want to replat some of this block as far as the model block goes. And this is a really tiny lot, and it's a really tiny house, and it's really old, and it needs to go down. It's been a rental for a very long time, and it's worn out. Had it.
Have you had an inspection of it? Are you aware of that?
We just based on the appraisal and the photos, and I will rehab a house. Believe me, I'm definitely one like the Ruth Jones house. I could not tear that one down in my heart. I couldn't do it. This one, I do not see it fitting into the concept of the model block.
What about the other properties on the model block? At Northwest First Street, there's 3 houses. There's 1, 2, 3 on Northwest 11th Avenue. What's the plan for them?
That I don't know. The city's got more information on that than I do. I just know that they're trying to get rid of the rentals and go more for home ownership to stabilize that area. because of the school and the park. So that's the goal for model block.
But so you don't know if this is the only single-family home we're going to bulldoze, or we're going to bulldoze the other 6?
I do not believe they're going to be bulldozing any owner-occupied homes. There's several multifamily rentals and in that area. So the goal is to do owner-occupied single-family homes. That is the goal of the model block.
Which could happen if this was sold to an individual.
It could, but I think the goal is to build new houses that are up to code, and I believe this is like a modified 2-bedroom, but now they made it into a 3-bedroom somehow with 1 bath. So it's not what we would call saleable today in today's market.
And this is, again, 56% over appraised value.
If you use the market approach, they came up with 110 on market. If you use the income approach, it was like 105.
No, it was 80.
On this one.
Anything else? You finished?
Yes.
Casella, Board Member Casella.
What was the starting, what were they asking for this property before we negotiated it down to $125,000?
I was asking 175. And they tell me what the rent they're getting, and you can do a quick and dirty analysis of the value of the property based on the rent. So it's like, come on, guys, So.
You finished? I just tell you, I've driven down. If you go up Martin Luther King Boulevard and take your left there, and that place was absolutely terrible. You didn't want to be there. It was bad, and thank God we tore down a couple of the cracked places there, but we're still in the process of cleaning that area up. I'm so pleased that this is finally happening. That's where I'm at. Anybody else?
Once again, I'd just like to point out that while it's over appraisal, it's a piece of property that I believe we need to acquire, and once again, if we had the ability to use eminent domain, it would actually cost more than this, and that's the only way we could get it if somebody doesn't want to sell. The fact that it's been negotiated to this price, I believe, is as good a price as we could hope to get.
Marker.
On this piece of property, since there's only one owner that we have to deal with, as I stated earlier, I am for the purchasing of this.
Board Member Hay.
Just one comment. As we all read the paper, we see where Boynton Beach is ranked number 4 in the nation as far as being one of the best places for retirees. In order to maintain that, we need to get rid of these types of places, and this is an opportune time for us to do just that. Thank you.
Just to be clear, we order on a property that is an income property, we ask the appraiser to do an income capitalization approach, and the income capitalization approach on this was $93,000, which is on page 202 of your agenda. It says sales cost approach, income capital approach, and market value. Because when you buy an income property, there's a value perceived with that you're getting income from it. So this one was 93.
I just want to make one. Based on some of the comments, there might be a perception that this is a crack house or something like that. Based on a lot of conversation with Brian Fitzpatrick, I know him to be a law-abiding citizen who is very interested in cleaning up the area, and I do not believe there would be anybody associated with drug usage in one of his properties.
This is not a crack house. No.
Anybody in the public wish to address this issue? Seeing none, I have a motion and a second to purchase agreement for the Brian Fitzpatrick property located at 137 West MLK Boulevard, amount of $125,000. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Show the motion passes 6-1. Consideration of purchase agreement between CRA and Rosebud House LLC for the property located at 121 Northeast 4th Avenue in the amount of $155,000. Is there a motion?
Oh, sorry.
Motion to
Second.
No, motion, second discussion.
This is just to let you know, this is actually a 2-unit property. There's a single-family home, and then there's a property in the back, rental property. It is a rental property. Again, we did an income cap approach on it, asked the appraiser to do that. So the front property is really not good. We looked at, could it possibly be rehab, but it's been let go too far structurally. Unfortunately, it's a 1930s property, so I don't think we're going to be able to do much with it. But they're both rented. He has tenants in them, so he's getting decent rental out of them. That's why he was not. We approached him, so he wasn't like somebody that approached us. And this is in our cottage district. We've got quite a bit of that block under control. We're not looking to buy Harvey Order's properties on Seacrest, but this property is not very attractive if you've been down this road. It's not well maintained at all. So I think this is one worth getting rid of to encourage. This block is a block we want to encourage home ownership at the next higher level. The houses on Ocean Breeze West are selling between 135 and 170. The 2 stories are at 170. So we want to encourage this block to be our kind of next higher income family or people to buy into Boynton.
Board Member Casella.
So when we purchase this, are we going to become the landlords?
No. The contract actually says they have to notify the tenants to be out by closing.
So it's going to be vacant.
Yes. It has to be vacant by closing.
And
we are not going to be landlords.
Okay, here's my next question. What are we going to do with a vacant building? We're going to board it up?
We have to board it up. Then we have the asbestos people come and do an asbestos inspection. Once that's done, if there's any removal, we have to have that done. It's a whole long process. And then if, in fact, we're going to tear it down, then we get the bids on that, and it's a whole long process.
Expensive one.
On that one, it won't be. It's wood frame. It's not too bad.
Thank you.
Patrick?
How long has there been the idea for a cottage district?
A long time. Probably 7 years.
Okay. So my question is, if you read the back up on it, it says, in 2 years, 4 months ago, it was February of 2012, long after it was a cottage district, it was sold by the bank for $43,200. So where were we then? Why didn't we buy it then instead of now at $155,000?
You mean buy it on the steps?
Whatever, yeah. If you're so interested in having a cottage district, why weren't we pursuing getting it at a bargain?
We're not proficient at buying things on the courthouse steps. That's a kind of a niche market, niche kind of specialty. You got to go there with a cashier's check. I don't know if you are familiar with how that works. You go there with a cashier's check, and you have to pay cash for it.
Okay, whoever bought it on the steps 4 months later in June 2012 flipped it for $66,000. Why weren't we there then?
I don't know. They didn't offer it it wasn't on the market. These aren't always arm's length transactions.
What's going to happen next door, 133 Northeast 4th Avenue? Nautica Realty. I called up. The price isn't set yet because it's in foreclosure. What's the plan for that?
That could be, we could talk to them and find out if they're willing to sell to us. We can find out.
I just have a problem tearing down a cottage in the cottage district.
Well, we don't have to. We'll have to get in there and get a structural guy to look at it.
But I don't understand why we can't leave it and if everything else is built up, why wouldn't the market, build it up? At what point does...
This is an investment group. They care nothing about putting homeowners in there. That is not what their business plan is at all.
So what is their business plan? Have it look ugly so we get willing to play top dollar to
No,
buy it?
they put as least money as you can in it and get as much rent as you can.
Board Member Merker?
Yeah. I think if we're going to do it right, we should do it right. We have obviously you've heard me do a 180-degree reversal on one of my votes. I think if we're going to do it, we should do it right. And if we're going to do what Commissioner McCrae and Commissioner Hay feel, since this is their district, they have the insight, they have the feeling, they have special knowledge since they've been and are the commissioner of this area. So since two issues we voted yes, I think we should also vote yes on this. And on the investment side, I'll take our director's opinion. Yes vote.
I have a motion and a second to purchase the property located at 121 Northeast 4th Avenue, in the amount of $155,000. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Show the motion. Show the motion passes 5-2. Consideration approval of commercial facade grant and waiver to the commercial facade submitted by the Boynton Women's Club.
Good evening again, Board Chair, Board members. Michael Simon, Assistant Director with the CRA. The item before you is to consider a waiver at the request of the applicant, the Boynton Beach Women's Club, to slightly vary the repayment or reimbursement procedure that is currently in the grant program guidelines. Under the guidelines as they exist today, the applicant that is approved completes the work eligible under the guidelines of the program, expends their funds for that project, and then it submits for reimbursement to the CRA. The application that they have submitted is acceptable on all conditions. They have attached a letter asking for consideration of the waiver to pay and reimburse the assumed grantee, if you so approve, to submit for reimbursement under two phases. One phase would be to accomplish a part of the project being 2 doors, and the second would be the final door. Their request is based on cash flow within the organization, and they're requesting that the board consider that for them. Again, the maximum grant that they would be obtaining is $15,000. That doesn't change, simply the matter in which they're reimbursed. Instead of all at once, they would be asking for it in 2 separate draws.
Yeah, I know this is probably the most historic building in the whole city of Boynton Beach, the Women's Club, and I know they're working very hard to keep it and bring it back to what it's supposed to be, and I don't really see a big problem here. I mean, it's not like they're asking for anything less. They're still going to repay us just in 2 payments instead of 1. I don't have a problem with it. Anybody else? Yes.
Just one question. The windows that they're going to be putting in there, they'll meet hurricane standards, right?
Yes, and they also have to be working with Warren Adams, the city's historic planner and preservationist, to make sure that the windows meet all of the requirements of both the state and the local registers. So it isn't an easy, when you're dealing with these older buildings who have been designated, it's even more strict, the type of windows you can replace with indoors. It's much more advanced in the review. I think Warren's here if you have any questions of him, but I know that they've been working together with the city and with Warren on how best to do it, what to use and what materials.
Warren, you're pretty satisfied with that?
Yes, at the moment the building's on the National Register.
Need to give your name.
Warren Adams, Historic Preservation Planner. At the moment the building's on the National Register, so there's no requirement for them to actually work with me, but they have chosen to do so of their own accord to make sure that they do the work properly.
Do you have a feel for the life expectancy of the windows and doors?
To be perfectly honest, wood windows and doors can last over 100 years if they're well maintained.
Okay, Warren. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Board Member Merker.
I look at this as, I think it's the right terminology, psychological. And the reason I use that word, it's a historic building. It represents a lot to the people of the city. And to me, and I'll use a slang term, it's a no-brainer. This is a key part of our city, and we as board members should emphatically back the stability and the development of this building.
Board Member Costello.
Yes, it's a great building with a lot of Boynton history in it, and I'm all for it. I just question I have: are they in the process? Are they applying for other grants to help them along with the process? Do you know that? Or?
Well, my understanding is that there are other repairs that the building needs. This is the most short-term, and I would say emergency repair to shore up the water intrusion from this location. I certainly know from the history of that it's looking for other grants and other ways to fund this. The overall restoration is certainly an active pursuit on their part.
I think we should do everything we can to help them out.
Yes, certainly.
Fitzpatrick?
The commercial facade improvement grant program, how often is there a cycle? One time or how often can you apply for this?
Once every 5 years.
5 years,
per property.
okay.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Thank you, Board Chair. I'm going to vote in favor of this, and the reason I'm voting in favor of this is I don't want anybody to think that I just vote because there's something going on in my district. I vote because things are happening in the city of Boynton. That's the way I vote, just for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I don't think we got a motion yet. Is there a
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. Thank you.
Welcome.
You're welcome. Keep up the good work. We wish you the best. We'll help you in any way we can. Consideration of approval of revisions to the HAP short sale policy guidelines.
Good evening, Board. Michael Simon, Assistant Director with the CRA. The item before you is consideration of approval of revisions to the HAP short sale policy guidelines. The guidelines that are attached have been in use with the CRA since the first short sales began approaching both the city and the CRA. And the list of conditions to be met were previously reviewed by CRA legal counsel and modeled in conjunction with the city's short sale policies and guidelines. After we got together with new legal counsel, they have made some very minor suggested changes that they believe will again assist the CRA in better protecting the board's decisions and rights under statute. You'll see on the first page, Ken has provided you with the version in red, what he's suggesting. You'll see in the second paragraph that it allows for the word may instead of will, which gives you the opportunity, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, to decide whether or not you will do that. You may approve or may not. The last one on item number 9, you can see that the paragraph again provides you with another protection or another decision-making statement that even if these conditions are met and even if it appears that the board or that it meets all the criteria, the board still reserves the right at its own discretion to either approve or not approve. So staff is certainly in favor of those suggested changes.
Is there a motion to approve the revisions to the HAP short sale policy guidelines?
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So the motion is unanimous. Consideration approval for the Bridge of Christ Tabernacle Church's request for temporary use of CRA lots for parking.
Good evening again, Michael Simon.
The Bride of Christ Tabernacle
Yes, sir.
Church.
The Bride of Christ Tabernacle Church has sent a letter to Vivian, and I've been on many discussions with Miss Verna on the subject. The Bride of Christ Church or Tabernacle Church is in the process of obtaining building permit for the construction of a new church at their location at 202 Northeast 11th Avenue. I provided an attachment to a map with the location of the church and the proximity of the church to our CRA-owned lots that are adjacent to the property. The church has asked that the CRA grant permission for them to use our vacant lots to park for their services on Tuesday and Thursdays from 7:30 to 9:30, and on Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., and again in the evening at 7:30 to 9:30 for the time period beginning July 15th, ending January 15th, 2015. They have specified that no construction materials or trucks will be used on the lot during this time period of construction, simply cars during those services, and they've also agreed to include us in additionally insured position with the contractor and the church. We have also, for those of you who don't know, we have done this periodically over the last 8 years with St. John's Church on 9th with a lot that we had across the street for one of their festivals. It's completely up to you, but I think that we don't have any plans for construction or advancement of our vacant lots during this time period.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion. Question. One.
Yeah,
we're coming. Casella,
okay.
you had your hand up first.
Mike, I just, and I think we had this discussion when I met with you, as far as insurance, we got insurance on that lot. Anybody, why they're using the CRA lot, we're covered?
Yes, sir. The CRA itself has our own general liability for the lot, and we are requesting that the church provide us as additionally insured on their policy, and the contractor, if you so desire, can also add us as additionally insured, and should. Ken's nodding his head, so
good.
Both parties will.
Sounds good.
Woodrow Hay?
Michael, for my information, what would be the difference between allowing this and cutting out the Clifford Bell on 10th Avenue from using that lot for parking?
I would, well, the difference is one's a temporary request for non-commercial use. The other is that during the periods other than their church service, no one else would be using those lots. They would remain unused or vacant without any traffic or additional parking. I think the difference also is that the use for the convenience store of that lot unfortunately had activities and was not able to be policed, I think, effectively by Mr. Bell, with all his intention, I think, to try to do it. It was almost impossible for him to be outside shooing people away from doing things that either he or the CRA certainly would not want done on the property. So I would look at this as we did with Mr. Bell for all those years, a goodwill gesture to our neighbor. Mr. Bell was able to park on that lot for his employees and himself for, I believe, almost 5 years, if not a solid 3. And we just recently decided to change that to be torn out and put sod. Again, I think this is one commercial use, one as a temporary use for church services.
And I support it, Mike. I'm just looking for words in case I'm asked.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, we could also support some of our statements in position with police reports and documented calls by the police.
Okay.
If you needed to do that as well.
Probably will talk to you later. Okay.
Board Member Fitzpatrick.
Is this sugar sand with sparsely parts of grass on it?
I haven't inspected the stability of the soil in for this request. I haven't talked to Ms. Verna whether the contractor has. This particular parcel, both parcels, while in driving by the appearance seems to be less stable than I believe it is. Certainly the CRA would not be responsible if through continued use that property ends up developing ruts or the type of ground that is not suited for parking. I would assume at that point we'd revisit it with the church and either cease to allow the use. We can certainly monitor that. Both the church and the CRA staff will make weekly or bi-weekly visits to the site, but that was one of the concerns we have with St. John's as well, that particular soil was, I think, less conducive to continual use. I feel like this is a little better than that, but again, we can certainly verify that regularly, and I think the church members would not want their car getting stuck either, so we'll work with the church members to make sure that that's a safe and I guess suitable parking location.
Any other comments? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Show the motion is unanimous. Thank you. Presentation of the new CRA website.
Oh, that's the last thing. All right.
We've got executive director's report.
Tracy Smith Coffee, Business Development and Marketing, CRA staff. On the screen that you see in front of us is our new exciting website that I have been working on. I guess back in January, we came up with a tagline, Catch Yourself in Boynton Beach, which has a lot to do with our Catch-A theme. So the whole website is based on Catch Yourself in Boynton Beach to attract visitors, new residents, and new businesses to the area. So I'm going to kind of go through a couple little spots with you on this. It's really easy to navigate for the public. A lot of the main interests that the public would be interested in would be the events, the grants, and the Boynton Harbor Marina, which is down at the bottom. Let me see if I can move this. Okay, yeah. So if you click on what we did with the Boynton Harbor Marina website, we decided to combine the Boynton Harbor Marina website with the CRA website to get more viewership on our websites. So let's see if this works, because it's live. I'm clicking. Okay. Here you go. And the Boynton Harbor Marina website has let me scroll down, sorry. A little bit about the marina, about the history. We also have information about the fuel, and we will have the fuel prices, the weekly fuel prices listed on our website.
Whoa. Yeah, you got that right.
And then we have a section at the top. If you scroll down, it talks about the marina. Then we have marina parking. We have all the fishing charters, the watercraft rentals such as jet skis and boat rental. We have the scuba charters, and we have the waterfront dining. So this is all part of creating this website for visitors to look at it, for our community to know what's going on at the marina, and also all combined in with the CRA information, the grants, and the events. So we kind of designed this in a way that we wanted people to know that Boynton Beach is open for business. We want to attract new businesses and also new residents, and we're tapping into the tourists, bringing people to the area. So if you scroll down on the top, it'll tell you the CRA is basically all the CRA information. Open for business is all the about the grants and the economic development opportunities. What's happening is the events, Boynton Harbor Marina, which I just showed you, and then Connect is a little bit about the CRA. And Out and About is coming soon. We haven't really, we have a few things on there right now, but we're really going to fine tune it. Business Close-Up is coming soon, and that's where we're going to focus in on the certain businesses that we have through video, and also they'll have their own profile page. Point Up is a business that is going to be showcased, and our new businesses that come into the area will be showcased on Point Up. And so if we go to the side, we have the calendar, development opportunities. This is where we have the land parcels that we've listed. Sorry, this is going too fast. So for development opportunities. And we also have an email sign-up where people can sign up and get information about our special events and our grants and what we have to offer. On the bottom of this website, it goes all the way down. Let me do this. If you click on the Catch Yourself in Boynton at the far, the left, top left, that'll bring you to the home page. This is a little bit about how the CRA works. Gives the public an idea of what we do, and down at the bottom we have a listing on the right bottom where we've listed our waterway parks in the district. And then we have, of course, we have the meeting videos, we have plans and documents, newsroom, which is all the information that's happening in Boynton through our press releases. And we also have the City of Boynton Beach Permit Department, just a link for them so people who want to open a business know they can go to that site. And then we also have the CRA Development Awards that we've won in the past. So it's pretty easy to navigate. And it's also really easy for staff to upload their information, so each department is in charge of their own information instead of having one person do it. So Amy's in charge of the events. I'm basically in charge of the whole site, but finance will be in charge of their department. So it's pretty easy to navigate, and for staff and for the public.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good job. Executive Director's report.
Mr. Chair,
yes,
before the executive report comes forward, are we doing anything for the 4th of July? Because nobody's saying anything. We are.
Yeah, they're having at the clubhouse. If you go through the Children's Museum, well, I think the city's taking care of the commissioners, but you can buy tickets to the Children's Museum if you want to be in the clubhouse during the 4th of July. We also, the city's taking care of, we're going to have a lot more vendors than we had last year and stuff like that, eating and drinking vendors.
Well, this is our last meeting with the CRA, and I just wanted to make sure they didn't get left out, okay?
Yeah, okay. You can purchase a ticket to the Children's Museum, and the ticket money goes to support the Children's Museum. That's good. Executive Director's report. There was 2 new businesses listed in your backup, and then you have development projects update. Anybody have any questions on the updates?
Does that include like the marina? Is that part of the development?
Anything you want to ask?
Well,
yeah, it's on there. Marine's on there.
I was curious after seeing that one, the prices of where are the tanks for that, and how big are they, and how are they refueled? I mean, how do you get a semi-tractor tanker down there?
Mike Simon, again, the tanks are not being changed. They're under the roundabout. Those were done by the related group prior to us buying them. They put in the state required. There was a change out of tank materials to go into the plastic, the synthetic type of tank. We've owned that for 8 years, and through the cooperation of a very good vendor, Mansfield Oil, and obviously working with all of the deliveries from the 2 Georges, we've had no incidents. The tanks are filled on top, similar to what you see at a gas station. The lids come off right there in the roundabout, and the truck moves the hose in, and so it won't affect, new construction won't affect anything at all with regard to that. Thank you.
Just one for the Director. You may be aware of, but the Sunoco gas station on Federal and Southeast 23rd has gone out of business, so I don't know what's happening on that property, but you...
Yes, sir. Just to that point, I did meet with the new owner of that property and his real estate representative, who I guess broker or otherwise known as, about our commercial facade grant, and Talking to him some months ago, he reached out to us to say how badly he wanted to improve the property and what an eyesore he thinks it is. His plans have been reviewed on a site plan basis, kind of a pre-application meeting with the city. His intention was to get rid of those bays and do more, kind of wall that in and make it more of a convenience store, gas station, a little bit higher end than what you see. Kind of the Valero, but a nicer landscaped area. There'll be a sidewalk on Gulf now. There'll be a lot more landscaping, and living in Chapel Hill and turning on that road myself countless times, it would be very nice to see that change.
Sounds great. So we'll be a gas station, though, right?
Yes, it will stay a gas station, yes. But
Thanks.
he's not going to do any maintenance. He's eliminating that phase of that property.
Fantastic. Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Car repairs, yeah, no car.
23rd and Federal.
On the corner.
Right where the red light camera is, okay?
where the red camera. Is that the one that you got caught by? You got caught by that one, huh? Did you?
Did you really?
Any other business come before the board? Hearing none, we stand adjourned.